I remember when the Mary Tyler Moore book came out, and I thought, that's somebody who's like carved out a nice niche for herself.
Thank you.
And now here you are again. So,
Yes.
yeah. So that's actually one of my questions. What has it been like researching, reporting all those nice details of the Mary Tyler Moore show versus this show? I mean, Mary Tyler Moore is at a deeper, historical remove. Some of the writers and people who created it had deceased, had died. What were the different challenges in writing these two different books?
There are definitely different challenges, and I can preface my answer too by saying that I look forward to the future for myself or someone else who's writing about TV shows that are on now, because it's going to be so easy. Because just like every single tiny little reaction to every moment of every show is recorded on the internet. But neither of these shows really has that. The Mary Tyler Moore show thing was a lot more digging through old newspapers, that sort of thing. And, it was hard sometimes, it's hard to remember this, but at that time, people didn't document their feelings about every single episode of every television show. I mean, yes, when there was like a Chuckles the Clown episode, there was a TV column a week later about it, but it was a little harder to get at that stuff in a way that felt so surprising to a modern person. The challenge, though, with Seinfeld is not so much about finding information as finding anything new. That was really, that was the difference. Whereas, almost everything about the Mary Tyler Moore show, because it wasn't as well documented, just doing some interviews and digging a little bit and putting it together felt new. Seinfeld's so well covered that that part was a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah. But as I said, this is a great niche that you have made for yourself. But, and I think a lot of writers envy even having that, and finding that kind of life and beat that they can really stick to and keep loving. But it does seem like one of the perils in writing TV history would be the lack of, just that your reporting would be difficult because it seems to me even, now and in the past that the writers and the actors and the people who make the shows are so busy just trying to make the episode that they don't archive like a librarian. So
yeah,
is that one of the perils of your reporting?
I think to some extent, yes. I mean, I'm definitely envious of people when I read, I don't know, more historical stuff, if that makes sense. Where it's like they have somebody's whole diary or, some amazing thing like that, which obviously does not exist for something like this. But most of the people, for the ones that I've done, at least, most of the people are still alive. And, many of them are available for interviews or have given a lot of interviews. Like, the thing about pop culture is that it is, even from the 70s, it's like relatively well documented compared with something else because we like famous people. So, there's a lot of just stuff out there from interviews and weird amounts of detail sometimes in our celebrity profiles. Can be like, on this date she was eating a salad with a reporter, because people fawn over celebrities and go to that kind of detail.
Right. And people who cover celebrities have to try to come up with some details, so they'll put the salad in, when we're really in this culture where pop stars are not encouraged to divulge anything at all. It's such a weird mix-up there,
Yeah, and it's totally just a function of exactly what you just said. It's like, because they're not getting anything, they're like, she's tucked away in a corner. It's always about this. It's either like eating a salad or surprisingly eating like a hamburger because she's so skinny and we can't believe it. And she's just eating the hamburger that one day for the reporter, but that's okay.
Right. That's so funny. So was it that you finished the Mary Tyler Moore book and you went right to the Seinfeld book, or had you always wanted to write about Seinfeld?
It was like I was already starting to work on the Seinfeld book while I was sort of doing media and stuff for Mary Tyler Moore. It's almost always like this, where I always feel like I'm at the least I'm not at the best place to be talking about the show that I'm talking about, because it's like I'm already steeped in the next one. So I'm like, I can't quite remember that, but I can definitely now tell you about Seinfeld while I'm supposed to be talking to you about Mary Tyler Moore Show. The challenge with these kinds of books is that, so there's two parts. One is that just because you like a TV show doesn't mean it should be a book. People love to do this thing now with me on, at like cocktail parties, which is very cute, but they'll be like, do Gilmore Girls. And I'm like, I can't just, like, that's a great show, but I don't know if there's like enough to say for a book about it.
Mhm.
So there's that part. So I have to be like into it enough. And also it has to be good enough for a book. And then like my publisher has to like the marketing possibilities for that. I've had some ideas where they're just like, oh, there's, there's just worry about, is there enough passionate fandom? There's no doubt about Seinfeld. The thing about Seinfeld is that actually, and I knew this from doing the research, like part of my book is about the fandom of Seinfeld and how like weirdly intense it is. You mean in a way that people don't realize until they're in it. And even so, doing press for this book, I'm still like, oh, this really is a lot. Like, people really like Seinfeld. Like, a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the beautiful things about the book is the level of detail. And some of those details have been widely reported about Elaine's dance moves and that kind of thing. But my question for you is that, I being a reporter also, I mean, I know that there must be details that you loved and that you were so proud to have uncovered. And for whatever reason, they couldn't make it into the book. So how did you know? Is there a mechanism, sort of internal mechanism for you where oh, this detail's got to go in, and this one is nice, but it's not, it doesn't really have to go in the book?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's used to, like, it's not always entirely clear to me right at the beginning, but as I'm writing, I start to really know like the actual story. That to me is the biggest thing, is like remembering that it's not, with these kinds of books, you don't want to get trapped in like just listing trivia, because, and sometimes like I feel like people complain, when people just want like everything in there. But because they're so into it, I'm like, you can get a trivia book or something then. You really want to be telling a story. So that's the part to me that's like trying to figure out what the story is that you're telling about this show. Because that's also what makes it fun to have it as a book, as opposed to just going out and reading all the stuff that's out there about Seinfeld piecemeal, or watching the DVD extras even. Those are all great, and I used all of them as resources, but great. And I think that's part of what people like about this book, is that it's like giving them the whole narrative of Seinfeld from beginning to now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. And so while you're sitting here talking to me, are you already at work on the next one?
Yes. So the next one is going to be about Sex and the City.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is like similar but totally different. It's like a weird thing. It's like New York and obviously comedy. But it's such a different kind of show, completely different kind of fandom, obviously.
Yeah. No, me and all my friends would, it was like a big gay thing. We would gather at someone's house and watch it. It wasn't like, you couldn't watch it later,
Right.
And there was something very exciting about, bringing everybody together and sort of debating whether it was a good episode and who was like Cynthia Nixon and who was like Sarah Jessica Parker.
Totally. Oh, well, that's exactly right. So, and it's like that, it's feelings, right? Like Sex and the City is so much about feelings, really. And also I think for women and for gay men and probably some other groups, I think those are the two big ones though, that like, it was particularly special because we felt represented and we felt like we could identify with these characters. Probably Seinfeld's a little different from that. It was more about like quoting the big things of that episode and like kind of dissecting it, but in a different way that wasn't about feelings. It was more just like, is this good? Is this not good? Is it better than the others? How does this fit into the overall canon and that sort of thing?
Yeah. Now,
nerdy stuff.
Yeah. Pee-wee's Playhouse would be a good one too.
Oh yeah.
Because it spoke on so many levels to adults but also children, and yes. I just think it's an amazing show.
That is a weird good one.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody would buy the book, but
Yeah, that's always the next. I always come up with these ideas and I'm super excited, and then my publisher is like,
yeah.
thing.
Cool.
No
Well,
one
great.
wants to read that.
Yeah.
No one but you and like 3 people want to read that.
Right. Right. Well, cool. Well, thank you for making time for us. We'll edit this down and get it out into the world and hopefully get you some more readers.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Okay. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.